Alright, so in this video we are going to be painting a cube, and this is our goal for today, is to paint just the cube. Tomorrow we are going to paint the entire thing. The cube should be done, and then we'll paint the background. Well, what we're doing is we are going to be painting with tints for the cube and shades for the background. But for today, we need to do, as I said, just the cube. So we do want to label this first. And so with a pencil and an eraser, you'll need an eraser to erase your information as we go. But what we're going to do is make sure that we have a line at the very top on the outside of the cube. This is going to be the front. So we'll call this the left side, the right side, and the top of our cube. So on the left side of our cube, we are going to number this number 1. This is going to be number 2, number 1's on the right side, number 2 is on the left, and number 3 is going to be on the top. So you need to go ahead and label those. All right, once you are done labeling those, we're going to go ahead and start painting. And I'm going to start with number 1, so I'm going to erase that number 1. Now, number 1 is going to be our first color, and it's actually called a pure color. That means that it has not been mixed with anything else. And so I'm going to go ahead and do blue. It's a very good color for the video. And you want to check your colors and make sure they're clean here. So if something's not clean, just take a wet paper towel and wipe it, and it'll be all good. So I want to make sure that when I'm using this tempera paint, I'm going to just really loosen up a decent amount of paint. Takes a little while to do this. And then since I've got this nice straight edge going all the way around, I'm going to start by outlining. So I'm going to turn my paper, take my brush, and just outline all 4 edges. And believe it or not, this is actually going to save you time, because you don't have to worry about your edge at this point, as long as you are taking your time and staying within the area. So I can now just kind of go back, grab some more paint. Again, this is our pure color, has not been mixed, and we want to keep it as solid as possible. You'll notice I'm also painting in one direction. Nice thing about tempera paint is I can paint over it while it's still wet. If I need to go back and make it less streaky, I can, or I can paint another layer over it. So you noticed I turned my paper just because I like to work from the tip against what I'm painting. So I'm just going to bring that down and neaten it up. Okay, so that's number 1. Now, number 2, as I said, we're going to be doing tints. So number 2 is going to be with white, and we want just a little bit of white with this. We want enough to change it. So I erased my number 2, and what I have in my brush right now, I'm going to go ahead and add it to the white, and I'm working right on the paint cake here. So if you're working with a partner, you're going to want to either make sure you're doing the same color, or you may say, hey, I'm going to get a different white. And I do have some extras available. So I know that this is my first tint, and that means this is going to be the 3rd tint. That's going to be the lightest. So I'm going to go ahead and start with this one. This is what we'll call a medium tint. And again, you're going to outline your edges and then fill it in. Take your time when you do this. Now, once you are done with this entire cube, you can put it off to the side. I'm sorry, not the entire background and everything, but just the cube itself for today. You should be able to just put it aside for a little bit and let it dry. And then you can put it in your sketchbook. I don't remember which way I started here. You do have to be a little careful because your white tint areas can get a little streaky. So I'm just going to paint it and then go back and say, okay, what do I need to do? Be real careful. I was not right there. I kind of messed up on the edge. So I'm just going to see if I can amend that or adjust it, make it look up just a little neater. All right, so we're on to number 3. Number 3, being our lightest, means that I have to go a step lighter than this. Well, I know that I've got a lot of blue in my paintbrush, so I'm going to go ahead and wash my paintbrush out. If you've got a lot of paint on your white, you can actually take some of that off also. So I think I'll try this. Now that I have my brush clean and I've got a little bit off of the actual paint itself, I'm going to work with this tint. It's very pastel-y. And I would start right along this edge and just compare it and say, okay, is there a difference between number 2 and number 3? And yes, there is on mine. So again, I'm going to go ahead and outline. And once I get it outlined, I will fill it in. Make sure you erase your numbers also. I just about forgot to do mine. And that is what we are doing for today when we're painting the tints of our cube.